I bet.
It's literally my first like week free of studying, pretty much for like past 2 months, and I was like, yeah, today is a match against Leicester. We always do well against Leicester. Time to get relaxed and and whatever. And what do you know? Like Tottenham at its best. Fuck, like
Wait,
it's always like this. Like,
it is, Michael.
yeah.
Obviously, I love speaking with you and your tactical knowledge and the way you break things down. Where do you even begin with this?
I, I'm honestly clueless. I think that, like the whole team today was absolutely dog shit, and I don't want to hear excuses for any of the players. Any, not a single soul in that team deserves like compliments. Maybe you could argue Bentancur, but the poor lad got injured, and to be honest, like it's not like he was so great before that unfortunate thing happened. I think that Højbjerg today was constantly like losing the ball. Some like nothing came from him. I think Kane was a ghost with wooden sticks for legs because like he didn't really participate, but every time he got the ball, it bounced off him. I think he lost possession like half of the times he had touches. Kulusevski was a ghost today. Poro poor performance. He got like dribbled past a few times. Tanganga was mediocre. Dier, what the fuck was that? I'm honestly lost for words in terms of Dier. Davis, same thing. Perisic again, defensively not contributing much. Offensively, I expect more from him, considering he used to be a left winger. Is that everyone? Yeah, I think. Oh, and Forster. Like, I will tell you one thing with Forster: get used to conceding goals that are shot low and powerful, because this guy takes ages to get down
Yep.
to try to save a ball. And if you see that like first goal, fair enough, nothing the guy could have done about it, right? No keeper in the world saves that, because that's just one of those goals, right? But the other three, I think Hugo saves one or two of those. The second goal also, like it was 1-on-1 with Madison, so maybe I won't blame him for that. But the third and fourth goal, both of them low near the
And the
post.
disallowed goal as well,
Get
Michael.
used,
The offside was the
yeah,
same, wasn't it?
yeah, and the offside goal was the same. So, I honestly, like, I know hindsight might be a good thing. I expected a tough game today, but I did not expect to get embarrassed by Leicester, and it was fucking embarrassing. I think it's the first time we conceded 4 goals under Conte, and it's like the first time we conceded 4 goals for a long time, guys. Like we've been
It's,
conceding 3, but 4. You
we
know,
did it against Manchester
that's
City when we were at
yeah,
Manchester
yeah.
City away.
Okay, so sorry. Then I'm talking shit, but so before City, I think we didn't concede 4 goals before with Conte, as far
Yeah,
as I
no.
remember.
When Manchester City scored that four in one half, that was the first time that Conte has had 4 goals scored against him,
Yeah, it's
and now he's done it twice.
like, boys, listen. I want someone to come on and try to defend Dyer. I will fight him with my fists, literally. I am sick and tired of pretending that Dyer is good enough for this team. And the issue with this defense is that we are all sure and certain that this defense is not good enough, but then they drop a performance like they did against City to save their ass. And as soon as they do that, and we think that they might actually kick on and do something good for once in their life in this team, then they drop a stinker like this. I'm sorry, this defensive performance was inexcusable, but so is the attacking performance of our players. Our front three was shocking today, in my opinion. Like as I said, the whole team in general was shocking, and I think also Conte got plenty of things wrong. And are we back to square one? I honestly thought after City that we might kick on with this season, but then you look at a performance like this, and I honestly don't know what to think about this anymore. Because after losing to Arsenal, I was done with this season. I said plenty of times on plenty of streams that I don't really care anymore about this season, especially about the league. Then they drop a performance like they did against City, and the flames of hope start blazing again, right? And I get knocked down as soon as I get any hope in my heart again. So yeah, just classic Tottenham for you today, right?
Michael, it is. And when you look at it, let's talk a bit more about Eric Dier, unfortunately. But I want to talk about exactly what you're saying because I'm in total agreement with you. This guy has survived 17 transfer windows. He is supposedly an England international. He
Yeah,
spent most of the game defending. If the microphone is the player, like this,
yeah,
and then I don't get it. Back in the day, we'll talk about people like Michael Dawson. Bang, he'll go into him. Toby, yeah, whatever. Romero does it now, but this is a guy that's been with us for long enough now, has represented his country, and is now putting in performances like this, and they are happening more than they're not. And if I was Conte, I would not be picking him again. He'd be on the bench.
especially yeah, like honestly, boys, all of us played football as kids, right? And whenever we had to take the ball off one of our colleagues, right, when we were playing against them, you try to do it. You try to put your foot in, right? You attempt a tackle, right? You attempt to do something. Like the goal by I think it was Iheanacho's goal, the third one.
Yeah.
I think Dier was standing off the
Yeah.
guy for solid 10 seconds, and he
Yeah.
didn't even put a foot in. Just attempt it. If you get dribble past it, at least you tried, right? Like Iheanacho had all the time in the world to try to line up a shot, pick the spot, pick the power that you want to blast the ball with, and slot it in, right? And like I'm honestly sick of it. I'm sick of watching this guy pretending that he's a defender, right? You said that he's an England international. I would honestly, I think I wouldn't take him in our Polish national team. And the level of our players is diabolical compared to England, right? I am serious right now. Jan Bednarek scored an own goal today for Southampton, and I still think I would pick Jan Bednarek over him. I'm honestly so done with Dier, and Davis like he's been okay this season. I don't really put Davis and Dier on the same level of shitness, but today Davis was also tragic in my opinion, and like listen boys, it's not even like the worst of our worries. Lloris is injured for a long time. Bentancur probably will be out for 2 months or something, right? If the reports are true and he's done his ACLs, that's him out for like majority of the season, if not the rest of the
That is
season,
him out
right?
for the season if it's ACL.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If it's ACLs, it's done. Even if he comes back maybe for like 2 or 3 matches, and he will have to be eased in or something, right? Bissouma has a broken foot or whatever, right? Højbjerg is suspended for the game against Milan. I honestly, it will be tough because, like at least looking at our schedule, I thought that with how bad Milan have been recently, I thought that at least Champions League would be as tough as I thought it will be. But right now, with Skip and Sar in the midfield, and Forster in goal, and like it starts looking a bit shit, right? And also, I think Ali Gold reported something about Sessegnon apparently being injured. That's why
Yeah,
he wasn't
yes.
on the bench today. So
Yeah, you're right.
suddenly we find ourselves with three wing backs in the team, right? Perisic, Royal, and Poro, because Spence and Doherty are out, and Sessegnon is injured, right? So suddenly, like we had one match with the whole squad uninjured. And listen, I don't want to like bring the violins out and cry about injuries and whatever, right? But I think we are in a tough spot right now. And honestly, Conte, you need to step the fuck up and master something up, because I'm not going to put up with us conceding 3-4 goals a game. That's not the football I want to watch, right? That's
Well, Marco,
inexcusable in my opinion.
you brought Conte up, and we've actually got a super chat from Rich Firth, and we'll get you to answer this. So it's from Richard says, "I've been fully in support of Conte, but at what point is it his responsibility to cut out the inconsistency and awful defensive structure?"
Yeah, like you want to comment on it, Brian? Sorry,
No,
because I
you comment, brother. You far away.
yeah, like listen, I'm not Conte out. I won't be Conte out. I'm sick and tired of blaming, like throwing managers under the bus and changing managers. I think if you want to run a successful team, you need to stick with a manager for a long period of time, right? Again, I don't want to bring Arsenal in again, but they are sticking with Arteta for a long time. And I know that maybe their past like 3 results haven't been great, but overall you can see the clear progress, right? That's why I want us to stick with Conte. Or if we are going to change, I want us to stick with the next guy, but don't change now. Don't do it now. Wait till the end of the season. Hire a new manager if you want to, right? But stick with him for the next 3 to 4 years. But with this match and our recent form, I think if you play 5 at the back or 3 at the back, whatever you want to call it, right? This formation is supposed to be defensively rigid. And whereas I understand that when people say that you can't blame Conte for individual mistakes, and I rinsed Dier today and Davis, right? You can't really blame Conte for their individual mistakes, but maybe we need to play a low block with 30% of possession so that those players cannot like run up the pitch, because we got caught on the counter 2 or 3 times today, and they are clearly lacking in physical department to make those runs, and they are lacking in mental department to be composed and calm when they are defending, right? So we have to put them in the safest situation possible, right? Against City, when we played and we had 30% possession, all they had to do was clear the ball with their square heads, right? All they had to do was put the head to the ball, knock it out. Don't let Haaland touch the ball, right? And they did great. I think they did really great in that match against City, right? But as soon as you introduce some pace to the game, they are out. They are incapable of defending in such situations, right? So it's for Conte to decide whether we want to play like this half press thing that we did against City. It was brilliant to watch. I really liked it, right? But you just have to decide or something, because those players are incapable of holding a high line. So you need to fix the defense. And I am all over the place. I just realized, but what I mean to say is that he needs to come up with a system for those players not to be exposed
Yep.
Yeah,
to
I
getting
get it.
countered on, and
You're talking sense.
yeah, like they cannot deal with pace, right? And they cannot deal when they are spread apart in like when the opposition plays really wide, like Arsenal do, like Leicester did today. I think they struggle with that, right? When we make our opposition cross the balls into the box and we can just pack the box with 5 players, then this defense is good. That's at least my feeling, right? We did well against City when they were just crossing the ball into the box. We um, we did really bad against Arsenal and Leicester today when they were spreading the defense and countering on them with pace. So I think we need to come up with the system to make the opposition play the way we want to, right? I know it may be like confusing, but and this is up to Conte, in my opinion. This is something that he can work on and something that he can fix. Individual idiocy by our defenders is not something that he can fix, right? So he cannot make Forster defend the goal better. He cannot make Dier like use his brain and put the foot in when the opposition attacker is in front of him, right? He cannot do that, but he can do things systematically and systematically. I'm not sure about the word. Um, yeah, yeah, you get what I mean, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that he can fix.
Well, you got to look at this as well, Michael, because I saw a thing. I don't know if it was on Twitter or in the newspaper today. Newcastle United, who've got the best defence in the league, spent £65 million on that defence. That's all they spent. £65 million, which is basically one Tanguy and Dembele.
Yeah.
And obviously the big one being Botman, who we were obviously linked with, but we know what happens when we link with people. So when people have a go at people saying, "Oh, we spent money, but it just goes to show the recruitment. Newcastle listened to their manager. Newcastle scouted their players. They spent what money they had to, and now they have currently best defence in the league. So I'm hoping when the summer is up and we know whether Conte's in charge or not, if Conte is in charge, whatever defenders he says he needs, I want to see them in. Not okay, you want this, let me get you a cheaper option or a younger version or a this version. Okay, you want this person? There he is walking through the door. There's the other, because this defence, I said it at the beginning of the season, I'll say it again, I said it before January, I'll say it again all season. We need open heart surgery on that defence, period.
Yep. Yeah, like, I've seen people on plenty of group chats already, like, discussing and fighting about whose fault this game is, right? Some people say it's Levy, some people say it's Conte, some people say it's players, right? In my opinion, it's not one particular thing. In this case, in the case of this game, it's not. It's all of those parties' fault, right? It's on Levy for not getting better defenders. It's on our defenders for being so shit. It's on Conte for like picking wrong players. In my opinion, Emerson should have started today. I don't care that Poro is a new signing. He should have been eased in my opinion, and not like thrown straight into the gutter. So in my opinion, it's on all three parts. But as you said, this defense needs to be ripped apart, and like many players need to go, right? And maybe I didn't like slate Tanganga today, but I think he needs to go, Dier needs to go, Davis needs to go, or at least they need to take a substitute role in the team, right? They cannot be our starter because they are clearly not good enough, right? Whenever I watch other shows when like fans from other teams are talking, right, and Chelsea fans are mentioning like Badiashile and Silva, right? I know Liverpool's defense is shite, but they mentioned Van Dijk and Konate and whatever, right? And I hear names Dier and Davis whenever someone talks about our defense. I've been hearing those names for 7, 8, 9 years. I'm honestly done. There is a point where you cannot excuse it anymore. And I'm at this point. I was at this point long ago, right? But this is the game that exposes it even further. You have to change it. You have to do something about it. And unfortunately, we'll have to wait another 3 to 4 months, right, before we can do something about it. But if we don't bring 2 or 3 center backs in the summer, then what the fuck are we doing? What is the plan for this team? I don't care what the manager is in the summer, right? I don't care if it's Conte or another manager. No manager in the world will make do with this defense. No manager in the world can do well with Dier, Davis as the base of their defense. You have to change it. You just have to change it. I don't want to see Dier as a starting center back in August when we start the next season. That's inexcusable for me. And that's basically what I wanted to say. I'm honestly done with. I never tried to defend Dier, but I'm done with listening to people trying to defend him. That's enough for me.